This is Part 2, Episode 102. If I have guessed correctly, it is likely that the final victor in this 4-pavilion grand meeting will be this woman, Xiao Yan softly sighed. Although there was no basis for this thinking of his, he vaguely had a feeling that caused him to think in this manner. Perhaps it was due to the wind-lightning pavilion, but Xiao Yan did not have a good impression of Feng Qing-er. Although the other party had an outstanding appearance and demeanor, Xiao Yan had a grudge with her right from the start. Hence, his heart felt a little displeased if he were to see her obtain victory in the grand meeting. Xiao Yan curled his mouth and muttered in his heart. After which, he ceased remaining still on this mountain road any longer. He increased his pace. In the end, he transformed into a black line that swiftly rushed to the top of the mountain. Although the lightning mountain was quite tall, Xiao Yan successfully reached the top of the mountain within less than 10 minutes. Xiao Yan had just ascended to the peak when a demon-like noise poured into his ears, causing him to feel a little giddy due to him not being to prepare. When he recovered, his eyes swept around with some lingering fear. He was immediately stunned. All he could see was an unending human sea. Even with Xiao Yan's character, he could not help but feel somewhat speechless at this moment. He did not expect this 4-pavilion grand meeting to actually attract such a crazy flow of human traffic. Xiao Yan was stunned for a moment before he sighed in resignation. His body moved and he rushed to an enormous silver-colored tree. At this moment, quite a number of people were also standing in those strange silver trees around. Therefore, Xiao Yan did not attract many eyes. With the help of a good view, Xiao Yan was able to roughly see the peak of the lightning mountain. The place they were currently at was a stadium. This stadium's building material was clearly the enormous silver-colored tree that Xiao Yan was currently standing on. Its entirety was bright silver in color and quite glaring. There were some potholes in the stadium. It seemed that this was the place where the disciples of the wind-lightning pavilion usually trained. This person's aura seemed to be far inferior to Fei Qian and the two others. He even had the feeling of an ordinary person. However, by relying on his exceptional spiritual perception, Xiao Yan clearly sensed a dangerous feeling from this person. Such a feeling was something that even Fei Qian did not give off. Is he the chief of the wind-lightning pavilion, the one called Lei Zunshi? He is indeed extremely frightening, Xiao Yan exhaled. This was the first time his actual body had faced a real Dozun for the first time. Although the purple-clothed, old man whom he had met at the Hall of Souls was also a Dozun, Xiao Yan was merely a wisp of spiritual strength at that time. An ear-piercing wind sound suddenly resounded over Lightning Mountain when Xiao Yan was feeling amazed in his heart. Immediately, everyone was stunned to see an enormous sword that was over 100 feet in size cutting through the distant space, rushing over. Within a flash, it appeared in the sky above the stadium. Ha ha, Jian Zunshi, you are the fastest to arrive this time around. A silver-robed Lei Zunshi stood up when he saw the enormous sword in the sky. After which, his laughter sounded over the lightning mountain like rolling thunder. The enormous sword shook gently and transformed into countless light spots as it collapsed. Two figures slowly descended from the sky above, landing at their seats. The two figures consisted of an old and young man. Xiao Yan was familiar with the young person. He was Tang Ying from the 10,000 Sword Pavilion. The old man beside him was small in size. He was wearing linen clothes and seemed like an inconspicuous, small, old man. However, everyone present knew that this small, old man was a frightening existence who was on the same level as Lei Zunshi. It is unexpected that even Jian Zunshi has arrived. Looks like those who have arrived at the wind-lightning mountain range earlier are merely the advance party of the 4 pavilions. Those who are arriving now are the core individuals. Jian Zunshi's appearance instantly caused the stadium's atmosphere to become fiery hot. Jian Zunshi did not really bother with Lei Zunshi's laughter. He rolled his eyes and sat down in a chair. Tang Yin behind him respectfully stood with his hands lowered. Old Jian still has such temper. It looks like the match back then is still a blotch in your heart. A strange laugh, that carried a sinister feeling, sounded when Jian Zunshi had just sat down. Immediately, a dark black glow rushed over from the foot of the mountain. It appeared to have teleported as materialized in their seats. With a wave of his sleeves, the figure unceremoniously sat down. The human figure, who had appeared, was an old man in black robes. His facial complexion was pale and a somewhat shady look was present between his brows. One of his eyes was black while the other was white, giving him an extremely strange appearance. A familiar figure was behind him. This person was naturally Wang Chen from the Yellow Spring Pavilion. Back then, the old me was unlucky and narrowly lost to him. It is at least much better than some people who have merely lasted for 100 exchanges in Feng Zunge's hands before being defeated by him. Don't you agree, Huangquan Zunge? Jian Zunge glanced at the black-robed old man as he spoke in a neutral voice. This fellow clearly has the fastest speed, yet he always likes to be the last to arrive. Jian Zunge raised his eyes. His turbid gaze looked at the distant sky as he laughed. Jian Zunge's voice had just sounded when the dragon roar-like wind was transmitted over with a bang. Immediately, an enormous green whirlwind appeared above the mountain in front of a countless number of eyes. Xiao Yan's eyes suddenly shifted when this green-colored whirlwind appeared. He stared firmly at it and the fists in his sleeves abruptly tightened. Feng Zunge, it is actually Feng Zunge. Unexpectedly, 4 Zunge, Dozan, have arrived at this grand meeting. This trip has indeed been worthwhile. Usually, it is difficult to see even an elite Dozan, yet 4 of them have appeared together at this moment. The 4 Pavilion Grand Meeting is extremely grand. No wonder it attracts so many people. I wonder just who will be the final victor of the Grand Meeting this time around? The 2 people, who were the last to appear, naturally attracted the gazes of the entire stadium, more so for Xiao Yan. The 2 figures had just appeared when his gaze instantly turned to them. Xiao Yan had already met the green-clothed Mu Qingluan. Hence, his eyes did not pause for long on her before they suddenly paused on the old man in front of her. The old man was wearing a green robe. His long hair spread over his shoulders, giving him a sort of free and easy appearance. That face of his could not be considered ordinary. Even though he was already very old, one could still vaguely see a handsomeness. It was likely that his appearance was definitely breathtaking when he was young. Looking at his outer appearance, he was clearly superior among the 4 Dozans present. Perhaps it was because he practiced wind affinity chi method, but his demeanor appeared ethereal, giving others an unfathomable feeling. Is he Feng Zunge? Xiao Yan's eyes slowly sized up the green-clothed old man. An excitement also flashed across his eyes. He had heard about this Feng Zunge quite a number of times from Yao Lao. This person could be considered a friend of Yao Lao that had undergone life and death situations with him. If these words were true and he valued the relationship as greatly as what Yao Lao had described, Xiao Yan should be able to achieve a truly great helper this time around. An excitement rose within Xiao Yan's heart. Lei Zunge and Jian Zunge on the seat smiled and cupped their hands together when they saw Feng Zunge arrived. Feng Zunge had become famous much earlier than any of the 3 others. Hence, these 2 people still cupped their hands politely despite all of them currently sharing the same status. However, Huangquan Zunge by the side seemed to have a conflict with Feng Zunge. After narrowing his eyes and glancing at him, he turned his head and looked as though he had not seen him. The green-robed Feng Zunge's face wore a warm smile. He reciprocated the courtesy of Lei Zunge and Jian Zunge. However, he did not give Huangquan Zunge by the side another look. Although the 4 pavilions were afraid of each other, Feng Zunge was at odds with this Huangquan Zunge. Moreover, the other party's shadiness and ruthless character were things that Feng Zunge disliked. After the couple of them politely greeted each other, Lei Zunge raised his head and looked at the sky. After which, he slowly stood up and swept his gaze over the stadium. Immediately, the noisiness that shot toward the clouds became completely silent under those eyes that contained a faint lightning glow. Today is the auspicious day that my Wind Lightning Pavilion will hold the 4 Pavilion Grand Meeting. Thank you all for coming to the Lightning Mountain to support my Wind Lightning Pavilion. However, I think that everyone is aware of the rules of my Wind Lightning Pavilion. I hope that there will not be anyone interrupting the Grand Meeting when it is being held. Lei Zunge's faint voice was just like a thunder as it resounded over the entire Lightning Mountain. Moreover, his voice contained a hint of lightning might. Some of the weaker individuals involuntarily trembled. The moment Feng Qing'er appeared, surprise flashed across the eyes of Feng Zunja, Jian Zunja, and Huang Quan Zunja in the VIP seats. Immediately, Jian Zunja laughed. Looks like Lei Zunja has really invested. You have even personally helped hide her actual strength. Are you planning on catching us by surprise? Lei Zunja laughed out loud when he heard this. He said, "What is Jian Zunja saying? This girl's status is a little unique. Therefore, I can only do it this way. There is really no other choice." Looks like Lei Zunja really wishes to continue holding the top seat of this season's 4 Pavilion Grand Meeting. The Wind Lightning Pavilion likely has the highest chance of victory in this competition. Feng Zunja's gaze paused on Feng Qing'er's lovely body as he softly spoke. Feng Zunja is thinking too much. That girl Qing Luan is someone from the mythical bird tribe. If her bloodline awakens, she can also be considered an outstanding person among the younger generation. Lei Zunja waved his hand and laughed. However, his eyes revealed a pride that ordinary people had difficulty detecting. He indeed coveted the thought of gaining the top spot in this season's 4 Pavilion Grand Meeting. Feng Zunja merely smiled noncommittally in the face of Lei Zunja's words. Huang Quan Zunja by the side frowned. Wang Chen could be considered one of his most outstanding disciples after all these years. However, there was still a little gap when he was compared to Feng Qing'er. It seemed that the position of the Yellow Spring Pavilion would not experience too much change during this season's Grand Meeting. The Yellow Spring Pavilion had always been ranked last among the 4 pavilions. However, Huang Quan Zunja was helpless to improve this. After all, the Yellow Spring Pavilion was indeed unable to compare with the other 3 pavilions when it came to the method of grooming the younger generation. Xiao Yan's eyes were firmly locked onto Feng Qing'er while he sat on the silver wood. He had always felt a vague sense of danger when facing this woman. This had nothing to do with strength. It was just a vague feeling that was inexplicable. Xiao Yan knit his brows. His eyes slid as they slowly swept over the arena. At this moment, every corner of the arena had some competitors standing with cautious faces. These people were all quite young, but they were exceptionally strong. Of course, those who had the qualification to participate in this grand meeting were definitely not ordinary people. They were either those with outstanding training talent or people supported by a strong faction. This place is indeed worthy of being the Central Plains. Even in the Black Corner region, one would be hard-pressed to find a couple of young Do Huangs. It is unexpected that the 4 Pavilion Grand Meeting has attracted so many of them. Xiao Yang softly sighed. The Central Plains were indeed worthy of being the part of the Do Chi continent with the most strong people. This place was filled with tons of talent. No one knew if there would suddenly be a complete dark horse appearing. While Xiao Yang was feeling amazed, his shifting gaze suddenly paused. A surprised "ha" escaped from his mouth. The spot where Xiao Yang's eyes had paused was coincidentally a corner of the arena. There was a black-cloaked figure there. This person's back faced Xiao Yang. Despite being a great distance away, Xiao Yang felt that this back was somewhat familiar for some unknown reason. Xiao Yang slightly frowned. With his current strength, this kind of familiar feeling would not appear without reason. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment when he saw that familiar face from the side. Finally, he abruptly clapped his hands. A stunned expression flashed across his eyes. Lin Yang? What is that fellow doing here? The person who had appeared in front of Xiao Yang's eyes was surprisingly Lin Yang, who had accompanied Xiao Yang from the Jiunan Academy to the Jiumar Empire back then. However, when Xiao Yang went to the valley to undertake a retreat, Lin Yang, Lin Xiuya, and Liu Qing left the Jiumar Empire together. It was unexpected that Xiao Yang would actually be able to meet this fellow in this place. The surprise in Xiao Yang's eyes gradually withdrew and he involuntarily shook his head. He had just arrived in the Central Plains for less than half a year, but he had actually met quite a few familiar people from back then. Fate was really unpredictable. Since everyone has gathered, let the competition begin. Lei Zunja from the leader's seat ceased chatting when he saw that everyone had gathered in the arena. He raised his head and waved his hand. That faint voice of his resonated within everyone's ears. After Lei Zunja's words rang out, the atmosphere in the arena suddenly became tense. 53 gazes swept across each other. Their eyes were filled with caution for the other party. In this kind of chaotic situation, all one needed to do was to get themselves to continue remaining in order to obtain victory. At the same time, however, most of the people knew that this selection was extremely harsh and cruel. Only 8 among the 53 people would remain. 4 of these 8 positions were already occupied by the people from the 4 pavilions. In other words, only 4 among the other 49 people would be able to remain. 4 out of 49. One could just imagine just what kind of intense battle would erupt as a result of such a filtering method. While the atmosphere in the arena was tense, the stadium around it also became quiet. Countless numbers of eyes were staring at the arena without blinking. The people inside were all considered the top among the younger generation. Other than a small portion of them, most of the people possessed a strength that they were really proud of. The battle that erupted between these people would naturally catch the attention of others. Ever since Xiao Yan discovered Lin Yang's figure, his eyes had remained focused on him. With his eyesight, he was naturally able to tell the latter's strength at a glance. For Star Do Huang, this strength might be considered quite good in other places, but it was barely considered to meet the requirement to participate in the competition in this place. It is unexpected that he has actually reached the Do Huang level after having not met for a couple of years. I remember before I undertook the retreat back then, Lin Yang's strength was merely at the Do Huang class. It seems that he should have also met with some lucky and unique encounters during these years. Xiao Yan's eyes rotated over Lin Yang's back as he softly muttered to himself. A lucky and unique encounter was not some fantasy in the Central Plains. Xiao Yan was able to borrow the help of the Heaven Mountain Blood Pool to break through to the Do Zone class. Naturally, other people would also be able to obtain some unique encounters that an ordinary person would find it difficult to experience. The Central Plains were extremely vast. Who was able to completely investigate the interior of those vast mountain ranges? However, for some unknown reason, Lin Xiaoye and Liu Qing are not with him. The 3 of them should have left together, Xiao Yang muttered. He had quite a good impression of Lin Yang and the 2 others. Moreover, when he had just broken through to the Do Wang class, Lin Yang and the other 2 still followed him despite knowing that he had a great enemy like the Misty Cloud sect. This favor was something Xiao Yang did not allow himself to forget. However, these 3 fellows had left by themselves because of boredom after the matter of the Misty Cloud sect was settled. Thus, Xiao Yang had lacked the opportunity to return the favor. The chaos continued for less than 10 minutes, but there were over a dozen seriously injured competitors who had no choice but to leave the arena. After all, if they were to continue fighting, it would likely no longer just be a question of serious injuries. The chaos in the battleground had also somewhat exceeded Xiao Yang's expectations. Originally, he had thought that this kind of grand competition would choose a traditional one-on-one elimination method. Unexpectedly, it had resorted to this hodgepodge elimination, hence, not only would one require ability, but one would also need a certain amount of luck. After all, even a hero would fall after being outnumbered. Even if one was an expert at the peak of the Do Huang class, the result of him being unluckily attacked by over a dozen Do Huangs would also likely be quite miserable. Of course, the person that really exceeded Xiao Yang's expectations was Lin Yang. His strength could only be considered intermediate in this place. However, he was not eliminated despite over 10 minutes passing. Xiao Yang only managed to tell some of the reasons after carefully observing him. This Lin Yang's agility seems to be very strange, but it is just too ugly. Xiao Yang was deep in thought as he watched Lin Yang's agility, which appeared extremely ugly to the point of being awkward. On the surface, it was just like a duck swaying left and right. However, under Xiao Yang's eyesight, he was able to tell that this agility do technique was definitely not ordinary. Its profoundness was not inferior to the 3000 lightning movement. This fellow really has had a unique encounter during these years, Xiao Yang smiled. He was certain that this ugly, awkward agility technique was something that Lin Yang of the past had never practiced. Clearly, it should be something that he had obtained during these years of training. Xiao Yang sighed in relief when he saw that Lin Yang was able to endure. Regardless of the situation, he and Lin Yang had quite a good relationship. It was natural that he would feel happy to see him gain an achievement today. Xiao Yang's eyes shifted away from Lin Yang and slowly swept over the arena. Immediately, he narrowed his eyes. The arena might currently be extremely chaotic, but there were still 4 safe, small circles. The owners of these 4 small circles were Feng Qing, Mu Qingluan, Tang Ying, and Wang Chen. The aura of these 4 was maintained at the peak of the Do Huang class. Their faces were cold as they studied the somewhat chaotic battleground around them. Anyone who dared to step into their territory would immediately receive a fierce attack. The strength of the 4 of them could be considered top-notch in this place. Although there were a couple of others who performed quite well in the arena, they clearly did not dare to randomly make contact with these 4. The chaos continued within the arena. It had basically become a filter where people were eliminated. Those who remained were swiftly becoming fewer and fewer. Seeing that he had attracted the attention of 8-star Do Huang, Lin Yang's expression involuntarily changed. That strange agility was unleashed as he narrowly dodged the fierce attack that arrived. At the same time, his footsteps also quickly withdrew. That red-clothed man let out a cold laugh after his futile attempt. The large blade in his hand was drawn until many after-images appeared. His body moved and quickly gave chase like the maggots in one's bones. The sharp blade glow in his hand forced Lin Yang to pull back. Xiao Yan had already stood up on the silver wood. His eyes narrowed as he watched Lin Yang, who narrowly escaped time and time again. He would not watch Lin Yang die from another person's blade. If it came to a critical juncture, he would naturally intervene and rescue him, but something seems wrong. Xiao Yan's eyes firmly stared at the 2 where one was chasing and the other fleeing. His brows were suddenly knit together. That red-clothed man had a couple of chances to injure Lin Yang earlier, but he did not attack. From the looks of it, it seemed as though he was purposefully chasing Lin Yang. Xiao Yan's eyes scintillated as he mused a little. Immediately, his gaze paused on a yellow-robed man with a cold face closest to Lin Yang. This person was not unfamiliar to Xiao Yan because he was Wang Chen from the Yellow Spring Pavilion. At this moment, he was like a poisonous snake as he looked at Lin Yang approaching his territory. The corner of his mouth revealed a sinister look. That fellow is planning on forcing Lin Yang into Wang Chen's attacking range. Xiao Yan's heart turned cold. This fellow was really vicious. He was thinking of using another person to do his dirty deed. Just when Xiao Yan had discovered the intention of the red-clothed man, Lin Yang, who was swiftly withdrawing, finally took a step into Wang Chen's attacking range. A chill surged into Lin Yang's heart when his feet stepped into range. Immediately, he saw the red-clothed man in front of him smile sinisterly as he swiftly pulled back. The corner of his eyes drifted, only to see a black-colored pillar that contained an incomparable amount of killing intent shooting toward his throat like a poisonous snake. Stop, I admit defeat. Lin Yang felt his heart immediately turn numb when he saw this black-colored pillar attack. The gap between Wang Chen and him was really too great. Even with the help of his agility, he was no match for him. However, Wang Chen merely laughed in the face of Lin Yang's cry. He was a bloodthirsty person and blood had to appear on his hand. How was it possible for him to withdraw his attack? Damn it, you shameless bastard. Lan Yang furiously cursed with a pale face when he saw that this fellow did not let him off despite having admitted defeat. Nevertheless, cursing was one thing. At this critical moment, his strange ugly agility was hurriedly displayed. His body swayed strangely as he swiftly withdrew. Bang! The black pillar shot over like a poisonous snake, striking Lin Yang's shoulders. Damn it, this fellow is really shameless. He has really thrown away the face of the Yellow Spring Pavilion. If Wang Chen earlier actions were said to have stirred some boos, this current action of his had infuriated quite a number of people. Immediately, many furious curses were emitted from all directions. The many curses appeared to have merely caused the smile on Wang Chen's face to become colder. However, the actions of his hands were not the least bit slowed. Li Yang could only watch as the black glint, which contained a cold air, pierced toward a fatal spot. Moreover, he did not possess any ability to dodge it. Am I about to die here? A soft muttering sounded in Lin Yang's heart. Just when he was prepared to shut his eyes and await his death, however, a suction force suddenly surged from behind him. His body also involuntarily pulled back. Immediately, he sensed a warm hand patting his shoulders. After which, a helpless voice which seemed familiar appeared beside his ear without any forewarning. Do you have nothing better to do, but come here and participate? Xiao Yang merely smiled and whispered when he saw Lin Yang's stunned expression. Lin Yang immediately reacted upon hearing this familiar voice again. An excitement that was difficult to describe swiftly surged into his eyes. He parted his mouth and nodded. Using a voice that only the two of them could hear, he said, "Good fellow, why have you come to the Central Plains?" Xiao Yang grinned in the face of Lin Yang's excited expression. After which, he waved his hand, indicating that this was not the place to chat. Lin Yang also woke up when he saw this. His gaze swept around. The sudden unexpected situation back then had clearly attracted the gazes of everyone present. All of them were able to see Xiao Yang suddenly entering the arena to rescue him from Wang Chen's hands with a blitzkrieg tactic. Quite a number of Wind Lightning Pavilion's expert guards around the arena immediately rushed over when they watched Xiao Yang did. A furious sound was emitted from the arena. "Who are you? Why have you interrupted the competition?" Over a dozen Wind Lightning Pavilion's experts with Doqi wings on their backs were suspended in the air. They surrounded Xiao Yang with cold, stern eyes. The weapons that they held in their hands vaguely emitted a cold glint. The sudden unexpected change had similarly exceeded Wang Chen's expectations. When he had recovered, his dark, cold eyes were immediately locked onto Xiao Yang. The black-colored daggers in his hand gently rubbed against each other, emitting a creaking sound that caused one's heart to feel cold. According to the rules of the Grand Meeting, one cannot continue to attack anyone who admits defeat. However, this person ignored the rules earlier. Instead of going after him, "Why is everyone questioning me?" Xiao Yang released the hand grabbing Lin Yang's shoulder. After which, he raised his head and glanced at the dozen-plus experts from the Wind Lightning Pavilion as he spoke in a faint voice. Xiao Yang did not wish to expose his identity here. Hence, he had suppressed his voice on purpose, causing it to appear a little hoarse. The dozen-plus experts from the Wind Lightning Pavilion were stunned when they heard Xiao Yang's words. All of them glanced at Wang Chen. They had naturally witnessed the scene earlier. However, he was a member of the Yellow Spring Pavilion. Moreover, that Huang Quanzunja was currently in the VIP seats. What decision could the few of them make in this situation? Naturally, they could only choose to close one eye. However, they did not expect that Xiao Yang would intervene. Moreover, they had never expected that this person who had intervened did not appear to have understood the situation. Could the background of this Wang Chen be measured with the treatment of an ordinary person? Although they thought in this manner, they would naturally not dare to speak like this in public. After all, Wang Chen was the unreasonable one in this manner. Xiao Yang's rescue might be somewhat against the rules, but it was within reason. He is but trash who relied on luck to reach this point. It's fine if I kill him. What's so great about that? The experts from the Wing Lightning Pavilion might not dare to say it, but Wang Chen could act this fearlessly. He immediately let out a cold laugh. There was disdain within his evil voice. On the surface, Xiao Yang's strength was specifically suppressed at the level of an 8-star Do Huang. With his current spiritual strength, even an expert like Fei Qian would likely have difficulty clearly seeing his exact strength, much less these people. However, there was one exception. Her pretty eyebrows were slightly bunched together when her eyes landed on Xiao Yang for the first time. A special sense that she was born with caused her to feel that he was vaguely familiar. It is not up to you as a younger generation to discuss what the Yellow Spring Pavilion is like. Whose disciple are you? Tell this old me. By being able to teach such an arrogant disciple, it is likely that your teacher should also possess some ability, no? Xiao Yan's cold laugh had just sounded when Huang Quanzunja from the seats in the middle of the stadium raised his eyebrows and glanced at Xiao Yang. His faint voice contained a dense, cold feeling. Huang Quanzunja sized Xiao Yang up when he spoke these words, and surprise flashed across his eyes. At a glance, he could tell that this person's appearance was purposefully altered. The thing that caused him to be most surprised was that this fellow's aura had a kind of obscure feeling to it. When he was about to perform a deeper observation, he sensed that the other party was covered within a layer of extremely hot flame. Although there were many obstructions, his old, sharp eyes could still tell that this fellow's strength was likely at least at the peak of the Do Huang class. This kind of feeling of having his sight blocked caused Huang Quanzhanja to be stunned. He had the strength of a Do Zun, yet he was unable to see through the strength of a member of the younger generation. While Huang Quanzhanja was feeling stunned by this, Lei Zunja, Feng Zunja, and Jian Zunja also shared this same feeling. All of them felt somewhat surprised in their hearts. The sudden words uttered by Huang Quanzhanja caused Xiao Yan's brows to be slightly knit. He did not expect that these old fellows would intervene and speak in this kind of competition between the younger generation. Immediately, he cupped his hands and spoke in a manner that was not inferior. Huang Quanzhanja really thinks too highly of the little me. I am merely speaking the truth as it is. This friend of mine has already admitted defeat, but the other party still launched a killing move. This action has already violated the rules of the competition. The remaining 3 Do Zun sirs have seen it clearly with their own eyes. I think that everyone knows just who is right and who is wrong in their hearts. Quite a number of people felt admiration when they saw that Xiao Yang did not panic even a little when facing 4 elite Do Zuns. This mentality was not something that an ordinary person possessed. After all, every single elite Do Zun was a giant. It was not overboard to say that they could summon clouds with a flip of their hand and call the rain by turning it. This reply of Xiao Yang had also somewhat exceeded the expectations of Lei Zunja and the 2 others. Before they could reply, however, the expression of Huang Quanzhanja had become much darker. His voice was ice-cold as he uttered, a mere advantage of words. Lei Zunja, finish off this little trouble and don't hinder the progress of the competition. One could not see any emotion on Lei Zunja's face as his finger gently tapped his armrest. He smiled faintly. His eyes swung to Feng Zunja and Jian Zunja beside him as he asked, Cuckoo, how do the 2 of you think we should deal with this matter? This old fellow was really cunning. He knew that it was easy to offend others like this. Wang Chen was in the wrong. If he favored him too much, everyone would think that the Wind Lightning Pavilion was unfair, damaging its reputation in the process. If he did not do anything, it was likely to offend Huang Quanzhanja. Hence, he had thrown this hot potato to Feng Zunja and Jian Zunja. Huang Quanzhanja's face became much uglier when he saw the expression of Lei Zunja. His gaze were icy as he observed Xiao Yang, who had sighed in relief within the arena. A faint fierceness flashed across his face. Immediately, a calm voice was emitted ahead of Feng Zunja, since you think that Wang Chen has endured until the end because he relied on my Yellow Spring Pavilion, this venerable self, Do Zun, shall give you an opportunity to exchange blows with him. You can bring your friend with you and leave peacefully regardless of the results. What do you say? Huang Quanzhanja's words immediately stirred an uproar in the stadium. Xiao Yang also frowned. It seemed that this old fellow did not possess the magnanimity that an elite Do Zun ought to have. Don't care about this old fellow who won't die. Let's leave. Lin Yang's expression slightly changed. He pulled Xiao Yang with the intention to leave. It was unexpected that this old fellow would say such words. He understood Wang Chen's strength very well. It was likely that only Feng Qing'er and a couple of others present could fight with him. If you do not dare to fight, you should kowtow 3 times to teacher. This matter will end if you do so. Otherwise, you will not be able to leave. Wang Chen's bright red tongue gently licked his sharp dagger as he ferociously laughed at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang's dark black eyes stared intently at Wang Chen. The hands under his sleeves were tightly clenched. Should he fight or should he not fight? The eyes of everyone present paused on Xiao Yang. All of them wanted to know just how this young man, who appeared neither submissive nor overbearing, would deal with Wang Chen's provocation. Although most of the people present did not hold much hope, they still wished for Xiao Yang to fight with Wang Chen due to him being too displeasing to the eye. Xiao Yang finally sighed slowly in front of everyone a moment later. Xiao Yang, don't be reckless. Lin Yang hurriedly said. His expression changed when he saw Xiao Yang's actions. Xiao Yang turned his head and smiled. After which, he freed himself from Lin Yang's grip as he softly said, Relax, a person who has come from the inner academy will not be weaker than some random person from the Yellow Spring Pavilion. Xiao Yan slowly took a step forward after saying those words. His eyes looked at Wang Chen, and a simple word caused the hot blood of the countless number of people present to boil. Come. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.